Hello and welcome to another episode of Modern Mom Probs Live. I am your host, Tara Clark. If you're seeing us, that means that it is Thursday night. So hello, it's almost the weekend. We're so glad that you are here. Tonight, we're going to be talking about overstimulation and mom life. And I am so pleased to be able to bring on my two friends, Katie and Ashley. I'm going to bring them on right now. Here we go. I'm going to bring up Katie, and then I'm going to bring up Ashley. Here we go. Boom. Hey, Katie, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I am great. Hi, Ash. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am well. I am not overstimulated today, but I do have to tell you, true story. I was very overstimulated the other day because my son was playing video games on FaceTime with his friends, and he's screaming and they're screaming, and like the sounds of the video games are going off at the same time, and it's a lot. That's one thing that I feel like parents don't talk about enough, and I'm really glad we're having this conversation because there's overstimulation when you have a baby and then a toddler and then now an older kid, and like there are a few things that really sort of like trigger me as much as loud sounds do, and I sort of thought that I was like past that kind of stuff, but not with the video games and not with like the FaceTime calls. So we're going to talk about that today.
And that's not like a phase either. You have that going on for another 8 years, right?
I have that now for a while.
30-something years. My husband's playing video games right now.
So really for like the whole rest of his life,
Yes.
essentially. I think the thing is, this is like, I mean, I'm guessing that like when people get older, they tend to use headsets.
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes like the men, like or gamers use headsets. And so that might be the thing and that might help me out. But at this point, my son doesn't use a headset and he does sit, you know, practically in the same room as me. So like we're pretty close and it's pretty loud. But I want to know, Ashley, what gets you overstimulated?
So I took this topic and I thought about it, and I can go like two different ways. Number one, I can be overstimulated with advice and everyone who wants to tell you, oh, you should do this, oh, you shouldn't do that. So that completely overstimulates me. And then kind of like last week, the witching hour can overstimulate me when we're just trying to figure out what is wrong. Is she just fussy? Is she tired? Is it just, time to go to bed? But I think more so it's the noise from everyone around me that completely overwhelms me. And holidays are coming up, and I can be completely honest, I am dreading them. And just because the amount of people, and then, RSV, the flu, we still have COVID, all the illnesses. So I'm very overstimulated just thinking about it.
Everyone's going to want to hold your baby.
Yeah, yes. But like, can we hold her? Can we kiss her? Like all of those things. They're going to want to ask for all of that. Yeah, that's really tricky. The holidays are hard enough. Mm-hmm. When you put in a new baby into the family plus the holidays, it's like really like your stimulation, you're at like a 10. I can speak to that personally because my son was born the week of Thanksgiving. His birthday is actually coming up. It's on Sunday, and he's going to be 10, which is so hard to believe. But he was born around Thanksgiving. And so Thanksgiving actually was really a non-entity for us that year because we were still in the hospital when Thanksgiving was. But Christmas that year was a big deal because he was 4 weeks old. And we hosted Christmas because my husband didn't want us driving from Manhattan to New Jersey. So he was like, well, let's have everyone come to us. And I was like, okay, I'll save you the super long story. But the super long story ended with me having like a legit breakdown. And I was like, I can't even. I can't. Like I didn't have to cook because everyone like brought food and it was potluck, but I still had like to clean up my house afterwards. I had dishes everywhere. Like, it was all the stuff that happens when you entertain. And I was 4 weeks postpartum with after C-section, with the newborn, and it was not pretty. And everyone obviously wants to hold him, and it was not pretty. So my advice to you, Ashley, and I'm saying this right now, and I'm saying this right across the board: set boundaries. If you have to say no, and you feel like this is not really what's working for me and my baby and my husband, you have to say no, and you have to set boundaries.
I think it's easier said than done with
I
family, especially.
I know, but as someone who did it, and now here I am 10 years later telling the story of our first Christmas, and it was like a disaster. I'm just saying, try as hard as you can to say no when you can.
And always play the breastfeeding card. Be like, oh, she needs to eat. Then you could just take her back.
Yeah. There's no better excuse than babies. Because then it'd be like, oh, the baby's sick, or God forbid, but like the baby's sick, or I'm not feeling well, or this or that. Like babies
are not usually this fussy.
Right.
Like, oh, I don't know what got into her. Maybe she's having sleep regression. And so like, we're not going to be able to make it because she hasn't slept in 2 days. There's no better excuse than babies. Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Like, oh, he's tired. We need to go.
It's bedtime.
It's me. I'm tired. I want to go.
It's me. It's me. When I say he, I mean my husband. Actually, no, we're going. But what overstimulates you?
5 o'clock. We gotta get out of here.
Well, for me, like as soon as the sun gets dark, like as soon as the sun sets and it gets dark, like I'm ready to go now.
4:30,
like,
perfect.
Yeah. That's it. I'm telling you, Ash, I'm telling you right now, set boundaries and say no, because everyone's going to want a piece of you and everyone's going to want a piece of the baby. And it's really, really tricky.
I feel like I don't exist anymore. It's just like everyone comes or
you'll come back
to me about my child.
Yeah.
You'll come back.
That was what my first Christmas was like. They literally pushed me aside. They like mushed me out of the way.
Yes.
And they're like, oh, let me hold her. And like I said, I was like 4 weeks out with a C-section. And I was like, not right yet. I was still healing, I should say.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, that's great. Okay. Where's the baby? And then I was left having to clean up the dishes and all that stuff. I was like, what is this?
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys. Thanks. Because like I said, my husband at the time, he didn't feel safe driving with the baby. So we just stayed home, which I like staying home, but I wish we would have just stayed home, just in our own little safe little
bubble.
Little bubble, our own safe little newborn bubble would have been perfectly fine. Absolutely. But Katie, what overstimulates you?
I would have to say, I mean, I think I'm kind of an expert on being overstimulated, not in resolving it. I don't really know all the answers to that, but excuse me, I spend a lot of my time overstimulated. And I think, Tara, you had said this maybe in a description of this, like you didn't even have a word for it, right? For a long time.
Yes. I didn't put words to the concept.
Yeah, I was calling it postpartum anxiety for a year and a half. And then finally I heard the term and I was like, that's what's wrong with me, right? So, like Ashley said, I think, and we talked about last week, like the witching hour for me is the hardest part of overstimulation. Like we get home, I have 100 things to do. They're both crying for me. They both keep saying my name over and over and over. It's like that, what's the show?
Family Guy.
Family Guy.
Mommy.
Yeah. Like it's so accurate, right? I think I saw that. I didn't have kids. Now I'm like, yeah, I get that. But to say that I have to just really be mindful of it and know when to walk away from it, because sometimes I lose, like if I'm going to lose it at my kids, that's when it happens, when like they just are both like so needy and I'm just like, give me a minute. I need a minute. I can't do it all. So
that's the overstimulation. That's when you're hitting like a 10.
Exactly.
Does it happen to you in the car? Because I only have one son, but when we're in the car with him and his friends and they're all talking to each other at the same time, it's cute, but it's overstimulating. Does that happen with your kids?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I have a pretty significant drive home with my children because they go to school right by where I work, and it's like 45 minutes each way. And my daughter's too. She's at an age where she has to have like her 3 stuffed animals, her pacifier, her book bag. Like she has to have all this stuff and it's constantly dropping, and I'm trying to drive like on a highway, and she's like, my elephant, my Elmo, my Baba. And I'm just like, shut up! I can't keep pulling over. We're on a highway. We're on an interstate. So, yes, to be short, the car is difficult. And that's, one of those things, like, I don't want to give my kids videos in the car all the time, but, like, it's the only thing that gets me through the car ride sometimes, because I'm just like, you guys both just need to relax, especially if I'm behaving at school all day and then they pick me and they're happy to see me and then they just both let it all out and you're just like, oh God.
Yeah. That's what it is. Cause like they're so buttoned up all day at school because they're listening to their teacher and they're trying so hard to behave and all of that and learn and all of that. And so they see us as parents and they're just like, okay, and then they just like let it all hang out. Which is wonderful because we're their safe space, right? Absolutely. So like we want that, like we're happy for that. But it can be overwhelming sometimes. But I know that when I'm in the car with multiple 9-year-olds, it gets me. And I thought about you, Katie, because I was like, she must feel like that all the time. With a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old, it's a lot of that.
Every day, to and from work. We're actually like reevaluating where our kids are going to go to school next year because I'm like, they can't be in the car this long. Is it them or me? I don't know. But
it's a little
there's a problem.
But you know what, though? I like that you were saying that about like thinking of a solution. Like that's a tangible thing, right? Like maybe I shouldn't have them so close to me at work or, the commute, whatever, works for you and your family. But I think that is a real solution to that problem.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with you on that. Yeah. It's finding the solutions that aren't always easy. It's one thing to be like, if your partner's home, you can hand off the baby or hand off whatever, like I'm going to go take a shower, like whatever it is, go for a walk. But when they're not home and you're like, it's like, oh, I don't even.
What do you
Mom,
do?
Mummy, Mom,
Yeah.
Mom.
You change your name.
Mommy. She's not here right now. She's gone.
I love you and I want to know what you have to tell me, but I just need you to stop saying my name. Please just stop saying my name. You have all my attention.
Your actual name and not mom or mommy.
Yeah, she's gonna start calling you Katie. Katie. There was a friend of mine has a video from her baby monitor where she was calling mom, mommy, and the mom never came. So it's a little girl. She's standing in her crib. And it's at night. And so, like I said, it's the baby monitor. And she's like, mommy. And then she doesn't go. And then she goes, Brooke. I think Brooke came at some point. I'm not sure. They actually don't show it on the video because the video cuts off before that point. But I think Brooke shows up at some point. But great. I love that. It's one of my favorite videos. Where was I going with that? Oh, birthday parties are another thing. Now, obviously, Ashley, you're not there yet with birthday parties. But Katie, I'm guessing that, your son probably is moving towards that age where he is attending birthday parties.
Every week.
Parties are so overwhelming, at least for me personally.
Are you hosting one this weekend?
I am. We rented a video game trailer that pulls in front of our house. And so it's a gaming trailer. And then we cleaned out one side of our garage and we put up tarps along the wall so that they don't see the crap in the garage. But then that's where we're going to have pizza and cake and stuff like that, because you can't eat pizza and cake in the gaming trailer. So, and I'm not going to have all the kids in the house. So we're going to put them in the garage. And so I'm in the process of decorating the garage. Like I said, we put up the tarps, which makes it look like, did you ever see E.T.? When there's the hazmat tent? Mm-hmm. That's what the inside of my garage looks like right now, or it looks like we're
biggest tearjerker of all times.
Ever. Mm-hmm. I was actually having PTSD as we were doing it. I was like, this reminds me of E.T. This is terrible.
They love each other so much.
But we're going to do a lot of balloons. And so I feel like the balloons will then cover up all of the tarping and it'll make it better. I just wanted to put something there so that the kids weren't distracted and then running to go play with power tools in the garage. But
that's a safety feature.
It's a safety feature. To have 15 9-year-olds is a lot. Not 15 9-year-old boys is a lot, and it's loud, and it's just loud. Really, that's all my takeaway would be: loud. 2 weeks ago, we went to a birthday party. It was at a bowling alley, one of those like high-end fancy bowling alleys. And they had music on like a disco or like a club, I should say, disco, 1,000. Like, like they had music on like a club and the sound of like the bowling pins and 32 9-year-olds screaming. I came home and I sat on the couch for like an hour and I just stared at a wall and I like didn't do anything and I didn't move. And I think my son went to like, I don't know, he was probably playing video. No, he was playing Legos by himself because he too needed to decompress. So my question to you guys is, how do you decompress? I stare at a wall. My son plays Legos. How do you decompress?
Katie, you want to go first?
Well, when I can, I think any like outside time for me is by myself. I should put that part in, like, is good. Like I'm big. It's like stepping and like finding something I need to do outside, like, which is getting harder now that it's cold, but,
That's a good one.
I think that's really helpful for me. And then also like just my mindset and keeping perspective of what's going on. Like you said, like, yes, like they're breaking down after school, but I'm glad that I'm like their safe place. You know what I mean? So, I would say honestly, those are my two big things, and I know as silly as this sounds, like doing like work, but not like my job, like work that I'm doing for myself.
Something that you actually enjoy doing.
Right, exactly. So like that's another thing. Like sometimes I'll just kind of like separate, like write something up or whatever it is. So
yeah. Yeah. Or like, I think you make content, right? I know you make content for Instagram, right? So then maybe like you're saying like, okay, let me take a second to like make a video or something like that.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
And I'm glad you do.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Ashley, how do you decompress?
So if I can, I'll get in the car by myself, which is very limited these days.
That's a good one.
But if not, the room I'm in right now, we do have a TV, but we don't have cable or anything on it. And like, we rarely watch TV back here. I'll just we have recliners, just sit in silence, maybe play a game on my phone, but really just silence is key.
Yeah, I agree. Silence is key. Like, yeah. After that birthday party last week, I just sat there and I was just soaking up the silence. It was really nice. I have some friends who, and now I don't really know the name of this because clearly it's not like a sponsored thing or anything, but there's like some sort of like loop earplugs that people put in, like a certain kind of earplug that people find like solace in when they start to feel overstimulated. Have you ever heard of those?
No, it sounds wonderful though.
Yeah, no, it does. It's like some sort of like I said, like loop earplug that they put in and then it sort of like takes everything down and it like reduces the stress. So I don't know. I'll look into that. But I'm happy with just regular silence is good by me.
Old fashioned.
I even find that my daughter's sound machine kind of also like helps me decompress. It's just white noise, but it's not people talking. It's not music. It's just white noise.
It's just nice.
Yeah, it is.
That's my husband is like the king of white noise. He loves fans. He loves white noise machines. Like that is like his thing. Now, he and I have a running joke because my brain, for however wired that it is, processes white noise as like irritating, but he loves it. And so he needs it to sleep. But then I hear it and it's like nails on a chalkboard. Not quite, but like sort of, And so we have this like terrible push and pull about like white noise because like I need like silence, like full silence, and I love that. And he loves the white noise. And so it makes it interesting at night.
It's tricky. Always looking for that fun challenge in marriage.
It is because it's fun. I saw a tweet once and it said something like It was something along the lines of like, one person like needs to sleep with the fan on, and then the other person like can't stand sleeping with the fan on, and they marry each other.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the case.
That's hilarious.
But something as silly as that, right? Like that, when I'm laying down at nighttime and I'm trying to fall asleep, overstimulates me because I need to hear silence. And then
I'm the same way. I'm okay with a white noise machine, but like a fan, I'm like, and then it turns off. I'm like, oh.
Is a ceiling fan too much noise for you?
No, that's not.
Okay.
Depends on the fan, how much noise it makes. The one that I have does not make any noise, so it's nice, But I'm talking more like the fan on like the hood of the stove.
Oven, so yeah.
I hate that thing.
Oh, I hate it. Oh God, I hate it. I don't even put it on when I cook. My husband's like, "You got to put the fan on." It's like
it's full of smoke, and I'm just sitting there like, it's fine. I don't need it.
Open a window.
I cringe. I go out of my way like to not do that. He puts it on like the second he like walks into the kitchen. I'm like, no. I'm so overstimulated by that. But so I'm glad we're talking about that, because it's not just the children and it's not just information overload. It's even household things sometimes.
Yeah, it could be anything. I get overstimulated sometimes, like opening the mail, right? Like,
yeah. Well, sometimes if there's too many bills and stuff like that, I'm like, yeah, no, I'm good. I'm just gonna put that over here.
Not the kitchen sink.
Yeah. I'm not here for it.
I think here's another good point about overstimulation. It's like, yeah, it's the noise, it's the kids, this and that, but like a to-do list is another one that can kind of, and I'm not someone who needs to finish a to-do list, just to be clear. Like, I'm fine leaving most of the things for the next day, but like, when you just have so much to do and you're just like, oh God, I have no time. Oh my God. That whole feeling is also very overstimulating, I think, to me as well. So
yeah, that's a big one. I'm glad you brought that up. I've had a project that I've been working on all week, and every day I keep moving that to the next day and to the next day. And tomorrow's Friday, and I have no choice but to finish it because it's due on it was probably due a couple days ago, but like I have no choice but to finish it. And it's that sort of thing where it's like, oh, that's okay. I'll do it. And I'm like, I really got to do that. And I don't know if that's just really bad procrastination or my ADHD or what. I'm not really sure, but yes, I think having
human too, right?
Or being human too. Yeah, I think that too. But I think that a to-do list really counts for the overstimulation thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because as moms, we have so much, and there's so much, and we've talked about this before, Katie, is like, there's so much on our invisible load mental checklist that we do. So the things that like aren't even physically written on the checklist and the things that actually are on the checklist, like it's so much.
It's chaos. It's absolute chaos.
Definitely like the mental load. And I feel like as moms, we have more of it than our partners. And like, I'm not playing the gender role or anything, but like I wake up and I think, okay, bottles from last night have to be cleaned. Pump parts have to be clean. Why is dinner still in the sink? Like, and then a full sink overstimulates me.
Good one.
Me too. The full sink really gets me. I don't know if your husbands are soakers or like pot soakers. Like, my husband will put a pot in the sink and then put water into it so that it soaks. But what that actually means is that it's sitting there until I get to it.
Yep.
Right. Like, I don't want to wash this. It's too hard.
That's why it needs to soak.
Yeah, exactly.
I wasn't sure if that was like a universal thing or if that was just here.
Oh, no.
To be fair, before I was like the last resort, I would probably do stuff like that too. When I was like at my mom's, as well, like this needs to soak, right? But and then I guess you get to be the mom and you're like, well, no one else is going to do it if I don't do it.
Looking around like, I guess I'm the pot cleaner.
Here we are.
Yeah. So Ashley, I'm glad to hear that that's not just the case in my house.
Oh, no. Not just with you.
But going back to the mental load, so just to remind everybody, Ashley, you have a 4-month-old, right?
3 months yesterday.
My math is wrong. So because I'm just genuinely bad at math. So okay, so you have a 3-month-old, and so that's why I just wanted to remind the viewers so that you have all of the stuff that goes into a new baby's mental checklist. Like you said, like the pumping parts and the bottles and making sure we have enough wipes and the diapers and all of those things. That is really a never ending to-do list.
Yes.
Oh, besides like trying to figure them out, right? That's another part that's so tricky when you have a newborn is you're just like, do you want to sleep? Are you awake? Like, what's your cycle? What's your pattern? No, it's changing. Like all that stuff too.
Oh,
Yep.
yes.
Are you hungry? Or did you eat enough? No. Are we good? Are we pooping? Are we in between pooping? Yeah. Do you just want to sit on mommy's lap? I don't know.
Yeah.
That's probably always the answer. Yes to that question is yes. I want to sit on mommy's lap.
Yes, and I don't mind it.
I know, it's cute. I mean, to think back now, like I said, my son is turning 10 in a few days, and to think like when he was 3 months old. First of all, it seems like an eternity ago, but like that was such a sweet age. He was like so cute and just like mushy and little, and his little thighs, and it's such a great age. He's so
like you didn't talk back and like
no,
you put him somewhere and he stayed there.
Yeah, I mean that as far as like mobility, 3 months old is like really where it gets like they're just starting to get use of their hands. They're able to like pick the things on the mobile and stuff like that. You know, I don't know mobile, but you know what I mean, like in their bouncy chair and stuff.
Right.
So it's a great age, and I'm trying to think back as far as like what my day-to-day looked like then. I don't know. The day-to-day was hard, but
I feel like it's, wake up, eat, play a little bit, sleep. Oh, time to eat again. Like a never-ending cycle. And then just trying to fit in the to-do list or a shower in between.
Yeah. I remember Jack was a big spitter upper, and laundry was a big thing for us. Like I was doing so much more laundry than I ever could have conceived that I would have done, because the second I like put him on something, he would just spit up all of his milk. And so then I would have to feed him again, because then he would have an empty stomach. And so then that was just really the cycle. But the laundry was really like above and beyond what I thought it was going to be.
I think too, when you have a 3-month-old, do you feel that like you're still trying to keep the order of your house that you had before the baby was born? You haven't given up yet?
My dining room, Katie.
You've given up?
I'm really trying.
I think it's right around 3 months where you're like, I don't care anymore.
Right.
I'm not going to do dishes. I'm not going to do this every day. Like, that's fine. Like,
I told my husband for like 4 days now, I was like, I really want to bring the Christmas out of the attic. I really want to bring Christmas down from the attic. There's no Christmas down from the attic yet.
Oh my God.
We'll get there maybe by Christmas.
You'll get there. You still have time though.
You'll get one of those surprise naps or something. You guys will be like, let's do it. It's Christmas.
I hope so.
Right?
Yeah. Maybe this weekend.
Oh,
that'd be awesome.
I wish.
Put her down for like a morning like nap, and then just go and just.
I think what also can overstimulate me is that my daughter does not like to nap. So she's a consistent 30-minute napper, and 30 minutes goes by like that.
Yes.
And then you have that list of stuff you want to do, and then it's like, wait, I only did one thing. Why are you awake?
Right.
Yes.
I could never come up with a plan.
Or like you really only had the chance to like go to the bathroom or something like that, or like do like just take a shower, like go to the bathroom, take a shower, and then choose awake.
Yep.
But hey, you know what? At least you got to take a shower. So
absolutely, I will never be mad about taking a shower.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, I can't believe that it's 9:00 already, ladies. It went by so fast. Do you have any final tips that you want to share about decompressing from overstimulation?
I think I would say just like pay attention to yourself. We're all going to handle it different. We're all going to get overstimulated by different things. So like learn to know it's coming and what you can do when it does happen. So like I said, it's the same time every day. Know what's happening. What can I do to prevent it?
Yeah.
And it doesn't always work, but at least try. I think that's
that's great advice. I think really like being able to identify it is a really big start, because as I mentioned before, like I never put a word to that feeling. And so once my friend Libby Ward, who was Diary of an Honest Mom, she started talking about that a lot. And she put those words together and I was like, gosh, that makes so much sense. So I'm glad that she spoke up about it so that we could have these kind of conversations as well, because I think identifying it, calling it out, and then we're able to like put a plan behind it, or like you said, like know like maybe the timing of the day, the things. Like I know for me, like I said, it's being in the car with my son and his friends, it's going to the birthday parties, it's the video games. Like at least I know what it is now, and then I have a word for that. And then I can go sit on the couch by myself for 3 hours. No, I'm just kidding. It's not 3 hours. But I can go sit on the couch by myself and collect my thoughts, or not even have thoughts, just be like totally like blank minded. So that I think that's really important to be able to identify that. Ashley, what do you think?
I also think tell your partner or your close family members like what your triggers are for overstimulation. And then, like you ladies said, have a plan. If it's like, a code word, if you're just like out with your partner at a holiday or a birthday party, and like have a safe plan to decompress or just get out of there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, I love that. Those
Love
are
that
so
too.
good. That's excellent. Ladies, thank you so much for joining. I hope you have a great Thanksgiving. So we're not going to be here next week because it's Thanksgiving. But if you guys are free, we'll see you next Thursday. Not next Thursday, the following Thursday at 8:30.